Hi, welcome. It's Jim from Avstar. Um, in this video, I'm going to give a couple of disclaimers. One of them is that I don't script any of this. I've got it in my head. I talk about it, and there might be an occasion where I go quiet, especially in this video, and that's just because I'm thinking. Now, since we did the video this afternoon, America's debt has already gone up over 1 billion. Can you believe that? But looking at this more closely, look at the US total debt. It's 101 trillion. Their GDP is 28 trillion, or 28.6 trillion. Their spending is 35 trillion. And their total debt, that's including citizens' debt, like credit cards, 1.3 trillion, all the other debts, mortgages, loans, car payments, all that, add up to 101 trillion. That is 3 times their gross domestic product of being 28.6 trillion. I'm just an average guy here looking at this, and I'm not picking on the Americans. I'm not trying to embarrass you guys over there. You know what? This has been a result of bad management and corrupt behaviour, and you guys know it. And you've got the choice in November of whether you want to vote Tweedledum or Tweedledee. It doesn't make any difference. What you're looking at is just going to get worse, because there is no real electable candidate other than the shit that is on offer. And if you've only got a choice of one shit or the other shit, you're going to choose a shit. That's the deal, and it's been set up that way. Same here in the UK. Like I say, I'm not picking on the United States. Recently, there have been about, just in my little area, and I live in a tiny little village, there have been about 10 houses go up for sale, and that is just a village. If we look beyond the village into the city, you'll see thousands and thousands and thousands of houses going up for sale. And the reason for that is because a lot of the people have been, for the last few years now, using their credit cards and loans as a subsidised income, and it's caught up with them. And now what their plan is to do is sell their property, move into a cheaper property, and pay off the loans. And in most cases, the merry-go-round starts all over again. If you're living in America and you're living in a city, I just want to say this, that the whole world has access to this, what we're looking at right now. And that also includes investment bankers in general, people that buy bonds, and it's not a good signal that's been sent out. You can point your finger at Japan for being 200% over their GDP, but when you look at this, America is just about in the same boat when you look at the US total debt of 101 trillion. And the reason why I say that is because the majority of jobs are not being created in the same quantity as what they're being lost. So that means as time goes on, jobs become less and less. And with the borders being open, allowing illegal immigrants to come in and work, and legal immigrants as well that have been given a visa to come in and work, to take those lower paid jobs, because they are not used to the same standard of life as general American people. Just like here in the UK, I'm not just picking on you guys. This is a worldwide phenomenon that's taking place, and nobody's addressing it in the positions that they are in a place to do something about it. They're not. And To give you an example, here in the UK, in the last 2 years, we've had about 7 chancellors of the exchequer. These are the people that manage the country's GDP or revenue. And the reason why they keep resigning is because they know they can't fix the problem. It's infixable, just like the debt in the US is unrepayable. But at some point, people are going to realise that, and I think that half the world already, 40 countries have signed up to the BRICS nation. They haven't all been accepted, but the majority of the big countries over there in the East have signed up to the BRICS nation. Now, I've heard a lot of stories on how they're going to do it. They're going to back it by gold, the new currency, when they start it officially, or they're going to back it with Ethereum, which is a Bitcoin type of, it's Ethereum coin. And it's still not clear cut how they're going to do it. But what they are trying to do is create a similar system to the SWIFT, which is what the West barred Russia from using. And here's another thing as well. I know what Russia have done may not go down as a good thing in a lot of people's eyes, but we all know the truth really about what's going on over there and why it's going on. But putting that aside, Russia had a lot of elitist, and some people would say oligarchs, that had invested in US dollars. And yourselves, if you've been watching the news on mainstream media, the US decided to seize this money and give it to Ukraine. We're talking sums of billions and billions of pounds of not just oligarchs' money, but also the Russian government had a reserve in US dollars which had been seized. And you can understand Vladimir Putin, and I'm not a Russian sympathiser by any means, but you can understand him saying, it's nothing short of robbery. When you purchase another nation's currency and hold it as a reserve for your own country, should something go terribly wrong and that country seize that money and then decide they're going to give it the Ukrainians, which I don't know if they have already or not, but I just think it's wrong, because the trust has been broken, and it isn't just Russia that felt the impact of that trust being broken, but China have witnessed this happen, India has witnessed this happen, and Pakistan and all the other countries around the world have witnessed this happen. And what country could trust America with holding so much of its currency as a reserve in the future? It's been broken, the promise and the trust, all in one go. And then, as a slap in the face, we see, Americans, the governments spending like, it's water, giving away the money to countries like Israel and the Ukraine, as though, they're in the green in the GDP. Well, the truth is, if you do a bit of research, you'll find that the last time the United States was in the green was actually 23 years ago. That was the last time, and since then, year in, year out, it's been in the red. It's been borrowing. 23 years ago, we're talking 2001 was the last time that the revenue raised by the GDP, the gross domestic produce, actually made a profit, and that would have enabled at that point in time for extra spending on other things. It could have led to tax cuts even, but that will never be a thing of the future, because the debt is creeping up at an alarming rate of $250 billion at the moment every 3 weeks, and that is going to reduce down to $250 billion every 2 weeks in not too long a distance. It is an unfixable problem, and the reason for that is, and you might disagree with me, is because of the capital system is now past its sell-by date, and there needs to be a new one come about. Because you cannot have, a technological advancement where there is so much technology, robotics and artificial intelligence stealing the jobs of human beings, when human beings need to earn money, exchange their labour for money so that they can participate in a monetary system. It's not working anymore, clearly. Something else, and I don't know what that is, something else needs to replace the capital system, because it clearly doesn't work for the majority. And that's why, obviously these that it is working for, the people that are scamming and laundering and, stealing out of the taxpayer's pocket and waxing themselves rich, they don't want to end the capital system. They will scream like a baby that hasn't been fed for 9 hours until they get what they want, and they will come up with every opportunity, they will exhaust every possibility in order to make sure that they keep filling the pockets of the taxpayers' money. I get it, guys. I get it. I understand what's going on, just as much as what most of you do. I know a lot of people have got their head in the sands because it's all way too much for them and they can't handle it, and it's better just to ignore something that is ugly than to actually look at it and identify it as something as ugly. And this is ugly. 101 trillion in debt total, and a GDP of 28 trillion, and then a 35 trillion deficit creeping up, $250 billion every 3 weeks. It's a bit too much to stomach, and the whole world is watching this happen. And like I said in the video I done this afternoon, you've got the BRICS nation, which is hell-bent on not using the dollar ever again. What does that mean? What does it mean when countries will soon recognise that holding US dollars as a reserve for their country is a danger? Well, I'll tell you what will happen. They'll be coming back to the American shores very swiftly. And that is the reason why I say America is 10 times worse off than any other country in the world right now. Because what is coming back is so dark. I don't think they can totally comprehend what's happening now. I've seen a lot of economic experts talking about this, and I get it now. I see what they're talking about. And this should have happened a long time ago, but now I think the inevitable is here. The jack in the box has popped out the box and, is there. And everyone can see it around the world. Even the layperson. But the reason for doing this video is not to shame Americans. No way. It's not to shame, all these countries that are also going through the financial crisis at the moment. The reason why I'm saying this is that if you are in a position to do something and get yourself out of harm's way, then do it. A lot of us aren't. I'm one of them. But I'm not bothered about saving myself. It's crazy, I know. I'm interested in not letting somebody get in the same situation as what I'm in right now. Because I would love to disappear, have my homestead, get some chickens, get a few sheep, lambs, and just live off grid. I'd love to do that. But if you're in a position to do it, then go for it. What are you waiting for? If you're going to stick around in these cities in the coming months and years, then it's not going to be good. It's a prediction. I'm going to give a date, and this is bad to do, I know that, but I reckon by about June next year, the tide will have turned in the United States. I'm not going to say it, and you just need to use a bit of an imagination, don't you? What I'm thinking, and I bet I'm not far wrong. But let's just benchmark the date, June 2025, and see how it goes. Only other thing I can say is God help, our brothers and sisters in America, because they are going to need it. Link down there if you want to help support what we do here at the observatory. We're affording ourselves a little bit of time to look at other things whilst waiting to drop out the SD card out the master of the TriMag and give you the latest magnetic pole update. But until then, I think it's interesting to keep our eyes on what's going on around the world. Right now I'm just like you guys. I've got my mind on a lot of things. What's going on in Iran, what's going on in Israel, Ukraine, and Russia. And then, you've got China and Taiwan. You've got North Korea, who's always threatened to blow America off the map. Just an insane place, isn't it? And yet we all live in the same world. We're all on the same planet. And yet we can't find common ground and work with each other. Because that would be utopia, wouldn't it? If we could. Anyhow, I've got to go. Guys, as always, the link is down there. That's how we usually do. Bye for now.